Every piece of glass, every piece of wood was completely destroyed.
It was devastating, not only for this building, but the surrounding buildings.
It's kind of a sad part to downtown Des Moines because it was a place that so many people loved and knew.
There was so little left of the existing building, there was discussion as to whether any part of the historic fabric was worth saving.
The loss of the East Building was a tragedy, but it was also a rebirth of the West Building. You went from tragedy and loss to hope for the future.
When I was a little girl, my grandma would bring me to the tea room when we would shop at Younkers downtown. It was very elegant and over the top for a little girl, kind of a magical place.
It's a special place to me because it was really my first job, and it was a special place in the hearts and minds of the people of Des Moines.
The original purpose of the tea room was a meeting place and an attraction, so people had a reason to come downtown Des Moines to go shopping and to spend time here. They'd have fashion shows here on a regular basis. There'd be receptions and parties and everything in between.
Its history throughout Des Moines then, it was always well known. So from 1925 to 2005, it served as a very special and unique type of place for people to come.
There was no other space like it. The level of formality, the architectural elements, the plasterwork.
You walked in and you were sort of taken aback by how fancy it was because it had the tall windows, it had floor-to-ceiling curtains.
A lot of red and green accents as well as floral patterns in the carpets and the drapes. It had a really beautiful antique and historic feel to it.
The tea room closed in 2005 when the Younkers Corporation ceased doing business in downtown. Everyone pulled out, and this building was left vacant for many years.
The development of shopping malls drew people outside of the downtowns. There was a lack of economic attention, and the tea room closed permanently.
When the tea room closed in 2005, it closed a place that people loved to come, whether that was for lunch or a special event. So there was a sadness and a real loss to the community when it closed.
In late 2013, another development company had acquired the site and started working on rehabilitating this into housing and to bring the tea room back. But in 2014 in the spring, there was a fire during the construction project that completely devastated the site.
The firefighters fought the fire in the Younkers building through the Wilkins building since they were attached. So there's pretty significant fire, smoke, water damage.
It was a sarcophagus of a building in downtown Des Moines.
A question early on in the process of was there enough historic fabric left?
For us to determine what we were able to save and what had to be replaced or completely lost to the time and fire, we literally had artisans and contractors and tradespeople touch every last piece of plaster, every last piece of wood, stone, to determine first off, was it stable enough to live for another 100 years? And if it was stable enough, what can we do in order to restore it to the beauty that makes the space so wonderful today?
So the significance of this building being restored is just bringing it back home to the community where it was first brought in. It's an event venue now versus a restaurant day to day, but people were thrilled at the opportunity to come back to a place that stood out to them so much in their childhood and their upbringing. The atmosphere of the venue is timeless and classic. For instance, the tile in our lobby, we custom ordered that tile to match the original Spanish style. The Younkers Tea Room used to have a drop crystal chandelier that had kind of an antique-y historical look to it. And when we were looking at renovating the tea room, we really wanted to bring in a modern element. So we have really beautiful, stunning gold pendant chandeliers that drop down from the ceiling. And then they uplight to highlight that beautiful plaster ceiling as well as down into the room. Sometimes historical buildings can get forgotten, so undertaking a massive project after the fire damage to the building to actually renovate it to its former glory, it's no minor task, but it really has brought great joy back to the community to have that available.
My partners and I feel it's extremely important that we focus back on the history and the fabric of the culture that brought us to where we are today. There's a tendency in modern society that anything that's broken or old to throw it away and move on, and I believe that somehow ekes into the way that people view other people. So our attempt to salvage landmarks and to bring buildings that are near death back to life is very much a reflection of the way that we view we should be loving fellow man and woman, that we should be bringing them towards new life, that we should be encouraging them, and we should be making them more beautiful and healthy in everything we do. For while you're in the tea room, it does not matter where you're from or who you are, everyone is on the same playing field.